I'm on a mission to have AI control my computer completely remotely. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Now, the first step in letting AI actually control my computer is breaking down what I want the AI to be able to do for me into smaller steps. Now, I could go make a bunch of predefined functions for things I want the AI to be able to do and have access to, such as Spotify or Gmail, but I want the AI to be able to use the computer how I use the computer, not just what I tell it it's able to use. So, as my first small step, I'm gonna let AI control my entire browser. So to start here, I'm actually going to use the OpenAI GPT-4 model since everyone claims it's the best on all these benchmarks and it should be really powerful for our use case. So the first thing I'm going to do here is some groundwork just to format our messages correctly to GPT. I've created this function called format GPT. It takes in a prompt and a list of user messages and assistant messages. And then what we do is we define a messages array with our prompt. And then we kind of go over the user messages and add those user messages back up to this message, and that just goes ahead and returns the message. Next, we'll go ahead and set up the actual call to GPT. Oh, looks like I accidentally left my key in here. Sorry about that, went ahead and fixed it for us. But yeah, I went ahead and created a function here that now takes in this messages array and can be passed into the GPT-4 model and gives us back the message. Now for the actual browser side of things, I'm gonna be leveraging a library called Selenium. All it does is basically creates a Chrome browser that you're able to control using Python. So what we do here is do all the necessary imports, including our AI file that we just created. And then we define our driver path, some options, and we go ahead and enable our browser. Now this might be a good time to actually explain my thought process behind how this will actually work. So we have some sort of controllable browser here that takes a user input and also the current web page HTML, passes that to an AI API, in this case GPT-4. GPT-4 is going to go ahead and return some Selenium code that can go ahead and be executed on our controllable browser here. All right, so now that we have that covered, let's go ahead and create a function here that will actually execute Selenium scripts within the browser that we've created here. So all we need to do is pass in a script and also the browser instance, and then use this execute command that's built into Selenium to actually go ahead and execute that code. Great, now with that out of the way, all we have to do is create a while loop to continuously ask the user what they want to do on the web page, grab our HTML content from the current page, and then we can add some logic here to actually create our own functions if the user wants to do anything besides give the browser a command. For example, if the user wants to quit the program from this loop, all we have to do is add this exit quit and then break. In addition to giving browser commands, I actually want to be able to ask questions about the web page I'm on so that it can find relevant information. So to do that, I've added this ask command in our logic here. And basically what that does is it asks the user now, what do you want to ask the AI? And then we'll go ahead and use that format GPT function we created in the AI folder. And we give it a little prompt here, basically saying, we're going to show you HTML, use the information in the HTML to answer the user's questions. Then our user question contains our HTML content and the current URL, as well as the question from the user, which was defined here. Then we go ahead and actually call GPT using those formatted messages, and we get a response about the web page. Then to actually control the browser, I've gone ahead and added this else statement, which will happen if none of these commands are actually in the first user intent. So assuming that this first user intent is actually going to be a browser command, this one will run. And there's kind of a long prompt here. Basically, all it does is GPT-4 is kind of outdated, so it gives it some more information about how to use the new version of Selenium, and just basically like how to actually format the code itself. After that prompt, we just do the same exact thing for the formatted messages here. So we give it a prompt, we give it the user messages with HTML content, current URL, and then the user's query, basically what the user wants to do with the web page. And now we can go ahead and try this out just by going like this. Awesome, so we see that our Selenium browser loaded and it's asking us what we want to do. So for example, we can load my website here. And we can see it takes us directly to the website. And let's go ahead and try clicking on something. Awesome. The browser navigation seems to be working. Let's go ahead and try to ask a question now. So I'm going to type in ask, and then what do I want to ask the AI? What is the latest project? Now, if it's actually reading the web page, it should say this AI job app assistant is the latest project here. And there we go, AI Job App Assistant. It features the ability to create personalized cover letters, blah, 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 blah. And here's the link. Let's go ahead and try to load Google now. And let's see if we can go ahead and Google something. So for example, search for blogs about the best omega-3s for dogs. Okay, it looks like it worked. Now, the problem with GPT-4 is that its context window is relatively small amongst all of the AI models that are currently available. So I believe the current context is about 200,000 tokens. So a web page like Google is going to have a lot more tokens because there's a lot more text on this, right? So I have a feeling that if we say click the first blog link, we might run into an error. And we can see here that OpenAI gives us an error here, basically saying that the context length exceeded. It was 591,000 tokens. So after doing some digging, to get around this limitation, I'm actually going to go ahead and change our AI model to Gemini 1.5 Pro that has a context window of 1 million tokens. So this should definitely be able to handle our use case. So what I've gone ahead and done is updated the ai.py file here to actually import Gemini 1.5 Pro instead of GPT-4 using the same exact function name. And we've gone ahead and removed the function that formats the messages because Gemini just takes in a string directly. So it's a little bit easier. So on the main browser side, we actually don't even really have to change much. All we really did was instead of passing the formatted messages here and formatting them here, all we do now is just make it one long string. So keep it the same prompt, pass in HTML content, current URL, and question. And then all we have to do is pass that string directly into the call GPT function. So now all we have to do is go ahead and load up our browser, say load google.com, and it should work no problem.
Bruh.
No, I'm just kidding. After doing some reading, it turns out the Gemini model actually returns these safety ratings inside of the object that it returns. So all we have to do is go ahead and disable this dangerous content category, since this is the one that basically doesn't allow us to generate code. So I've gone ahead and defined our safety settings here to turn off our dangerous content category. Now with dangerous content turned off, what could go wrong? All right, let's go ahead and try it one more time. So let's load google.com and see if we get a different result here. Okay, cool. It looks like it's working. So let's go ahead and try to search for our query once again. Okay, looks like it's working. So the real test here is to see if it actually, the token count is now within Gemini's capabilities. So we're gonna tell it to click the first blog link. Holy sh**, it actually worked. Now let's go ahead and try to ask it a question about the blog. Why should I choose omega-3s for my dog? Awesome. And we can see here that the AI actually went through and read this article for me and can return all of the information. And there you have it. AI can now control my browser just using text. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see AI take over my entire computer, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me as a new YouTuber and keep me motivated to keep content like this coming to you. I have plans to release a video every Friday with updates on this project, including a site to give tasks to the AI on the go, task execution so that the AI can eventually navigate my browser using a series of steps. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. And until next Friday, have a great weekend.